charge take?
That's another great question.
From the Gettysburg Museum of History Studios, high atop Baltimore Street, in a maximum security facility complete with central air, it's AG Today.
Hello, folks. It's Patrick Gorman.
Hi, this is Jake Busey.
Hi, this is Bruce Boxleitner.
This is Tom Vera from A Gettysburg Christmas.
Hi, this is Bo Brinkman.
And you're listening to Addressing Gettysburg. I'm glad you're listening. Thank you.
There's a devil to pay.
Did you say Ed Lincoln?
Good night, everybody.
Bonfire.
You're listening to
Addressing Gettysburg Today.
I love this podcast.
Oh, exactly.
That's our joyous Colby laughing there from last week. Hello, everybody. Hi, Ronnie.
Hi.
How you doing?
That was the pre-Colby of the times we knew him before.
Oh, my God. I mean, geez, that kid, he, for those of you who didn't listen to last week's show, Colby took himself what they call an edible. And I guess, what'd you do, Cole? Did you take it before...
right before, dude.
Right before. And how long did it take to kick in? I mean, it seemed to have been a slow...
I got through the first segment. Pretty solid. Then second segment, dude, I was like, I got hit with a sledgehammer.
Yeah. And then by the end of the show, we walked back there, and Colby had his head down on the desk, and when he pulled it up, he was like, all the color had left his face. He was sweating bullets.
Eyelids were red. It was scary.
You were.
All joking aside, I was like, should we call somebody?
You thought it was like dying of a heroin overdose or something.
Matt came to the rescue, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Cindy took you home.
You did.
I couldn't let you drive like that.
I felt bad. I couldn't really hang out. You were asking me if I wanted to go to dinner. I was like, no. I want to go home.
Like, no, I want to go to my couch. I mean, man, was that, what was that, sativa or indica?
I don't know, dude. It's not even, I don't even think it's the real deal. It's the stuff here in town, you know?
What, is it Delta 8?
One of those.
Well, so then it's real enough.
I mean, but it's not like like what you would get in Colorado or something, you know.
No, well,
so wait,
like
you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I mean, did you get it at the dispenser, or did you get it like at a convenience store?
No,
I
got it at the little vape shop here in town.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Hey,
yeah,
listen.
But I think his reaction was more because it was ingested as opposed to vaped or smoked, right?
Yes. I mean, even back in the day, like the brownies when you're in high school and stuff, they always get me so much worse.
Yeah.
Than the other way.
Yeah. And that's what everybody says, and that's why. And the first time I ever tried it since high school, like a year and a half ago, I did a tincture, which is like a medicine dropper.
You ended up just like me, didn't you?
Oh my God, worse than you, because I did 4,000 milligrams of THC and 4,000 of CBD, because I thought it was more instantaneous, and I thought it wasn't working, and I was like, oh, I better take more. Nobody told me, because I'm not into that stuff. I wasn't into that stuff, and so I didn't know. And now I know why people, freak out about the edibles and stuff, because it's frightening.
Dude,
frightening.
Well, I was telling Veronica, I said, you just got to ride the ride, man.
Yeah, I'm
you have
still
no
a little
choice.
Confused because I've never heard of anybody like ODing on marijuana. It's just not a thing.
Well,
I know.
I think I think it was like a blood sugar. I really do think it was like a blood sugar thing.
Blood sugar.
I didn't eat before I came.
I don't think it was
something
that.
Else was going on there.
I think that's why you get so hungry when you smoke. It's because it messes with your blood sugar.
Maybe. I don't know how it all works, but whatever the hell it was with you,
bro,
was hilarious. But
I know that your experience had to be very similar, because that's not the first time something like that has happened to me.
Yeah, I thought my experience was quite similar, but I was alone, And I laid myself down on the couch and folded my arms over my chest so that if I died, because you feel like you're dying, and if I died, then I would, look decent. But
with your arms already folded.
Debbie, oh, you have that one on. I'm sorry, Deb. I had the other one up for you. What's that, Deb?
I said you would already be laid out, ready to go.
Yeah. They just have to move me into the box, and then we're set. The mortician wouldn't have to do anything.
Easy day at the office.
Yeah, I'm just making it easy for people.
It's crazy.
Anyway.
But then, on top of all of that, you played the funniest thing I've probably ever heard in my life.
What's that?
Last week, and that was Cam's just obnoxious oratory.
His oratory wasn't obnoxious. His cursing was.
Yeah, the bleep work was worthy of national television.
Well, I have to give Mike Pellegrini some credit because he had such a great idea, and I wish I had conferred with him or consulted with him prior. He said to take that little bit of Cam at the Matt Atkinson lecture doing his train whistle where he goes, woo, woo, right?
Just go fast.
Just take that and use that as the bleep instead of bleep. So from now on, if I ever have to bleep something, that's what I'm going to use.
Your soundboard is it's going to enter legendary status soon, man. It's got so many great bits in there.
John Hunt Morgan would later write of what happened at Saltville. Averell f***ed his men elegantly, but our boys gave them no time to f***. If I had been 1 hour later, this place and the lead mines would have been lost. If we would have had 2 more hours of daylight, we would have the whole planet. At Wrightsville, Virginia, Averell collided at Cove Mountain near Crockett's Cove against a combined force of John Hunt Morgan and William Jones.
Tell us about your reenacting. When did you start that?
I started that probably back in 2001 as a young reenactor who in a unicorn in a little Malta uniform. Some guys took me under their wings, started and little by little I grew. I learned how to get around to reenactments.
Speaking of Cam, I hate to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this was in the news. We'll get to it during the news, but just to give you a little heads up for such really bad news, really sad news, one of our favorite universities has lost its accreditation, I think, right? And we'll get into the details of it, but Otterspin-Brodesson, and many people theorize that it's because of the exposure they've been getting on the show. People don't take it seriously anymore. And
Otterspin-Brodesson.
Yeah, sorry, Cam.
I have a hard time with names sometimes.
And so they're like $500 million in the hole, I think.
Something like
Cindy
that,
said she was reading an article there. So we'll get to the bottom of that by the news, but just to let you know,
That happens.
Well, a lot
of money.
Maybe the theories are correct. Maybe it's us. If you're a patron, go and check your emails or go to our Patreon page and look at the posts. There is our tickets are on sale for our show at the Farnsworth House in September. What we're doing this year is we're doing all the shows we're going to do between now and the beginning of spring are going to be what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to be the Spotlight On format. So we're going to have guests. We're just going to sit and talk about them. And the first one we're going to do is Dr. Peter Carmichael, our buddy from the Civil War Institute, and he's going to sit there and talk about his favorite subject, which is himself and scarves.
That's our favorite subject. He's not
the
that
man of the
narcissistic.
scarves.
He's a good guy.
No, he did. He said he texted me. He's like, okay, yeah, I could do the 16th. He goes, what are we going to talk about? My favorite subject, me. And he goes, no, I'm just kidding. A panel would be fine. And I said, no, that's exactly what we're talking about is you. Yeah, we're doing the Spotlight On. So I'm trying to do smaller shows So for this year, every year we're going to try to do it up a different way. And so we're going to just do that little sit-down interview. We're going to do it kind of like, I'm saying Donahue style because Jerry Springer, everybody knows Springer, but that's trashy, right? But, the idea, the daytime talk show where now I'm going to sit, and Donahue used to sit at a table with someone and talk to them, and then after the last break, he would go to the audience and with the microphone and let them ask questions. So that's what we're going to do. After the commercial break, then you get to talk to Pete Carmichael. We want to make it more of an open, conversation there with him. So maybe, yeah. So that'll be at the September 16th. At the Farnsworth House, Camp Farnsworth in the back. The tickets go on sale for the general public tomorrow, but right now they are only on sale for our patrons over on patreon.com/addressing Gettysburg at a discount, of course. And so get over there and get them while they're hot. Yeah, how about that, Ronnie? What else? Oh, our Get Out of the Car tour is coming up on the 19th this month, I believe. The third Saturday. I think it's the 19th.
Yes, it'd be the 19th.
Yeah, and that is going to be Berdan Sharpshooters in Pitzer's Woods. That's cool. So that'll be fun.
So you mentioned, we actually talked about that a little bit. Some of our guests might have limited mobility or mobility issues. This might be one of the tours for them to consider if they're interested.
Especially if you have one of those ATV wheelchairs. Because who is it? Ron I was talking to his wife Cindy, and she's like, I got him this wheelchair, and she told me what it was, and I looked it up, and this thing is badass. Yeah, I'm actually thinking of getting him one of those guidons there that Josh made. Yeah. I'm actually thinking of giving him one of them to him so he could put it on there and go around.
But seriously, even if you don't have that, the concept of Pitzer's, there's not too much.
No, it's
walking around it. Right?
I don't believe so. I'd have to talk to Lewis, but from my impression is that, we're going to be mostly on the road, maybe path through the woods. Which, again, if you have one of those all-terrain vehicle wheelchairs, that is doable on those, I believe. But if it's a regular old skinny wheelchair, you might have a hard time there. But you could take the pavement around, and meet us at the stop or whatever. So, that you're right. That one, out of all of them, is going to have the best chance of you having access to most of it. I mean, maybe there's going to a spot or two. I don't know exactly what his route is going to be. But yeah, that's a good point. Thanks for bringing that up. Also, let's see here. Oh, someone suggested this, Veronica, and I'd like to poll everybody here. I know Colby and I would do it, but somebody said that we should have a cast karaoke contest on the show. Would you do that?
On the show?
Oh,
no, I knew you wouldn't. I knew you wouldn't. Would you, Debbie? What if Colby
Veronica,
gave you one of his candies? What if?
That'd be even less likely.
For the first 30 minutes, you might.
Yeah. If I give me the first one up,
it would definitely depend entirely on the genre of music.
You pick the song. You pick the song. It's up to you.
90s gangster
Maybe.
rap.
I mean, there's one song.
Definitely not.
There's one song that everybody thinks they can sing. And the whole idea of karaoke is to not be able to sing. That's the fun part, right? It's the joke. But and then we let the listeners vote on which one they think won, and then the winner, I don't know, we just get bragging rights or something. What do you think of that?
Where would this be?
Here.
Oh.
Wait, we get to pick our own song.
We get to pick our own song.
Do we pick each other's songs? Because that would be more
dear
fun.
Lord.
Oh, you see, now you're talking.
That would be more fun.
Now you're talking. All right. Well, now first, let's see. Debbie, would you do it? Whether we pick our own,
because you get to pick.
Debbie's
you
a
get
sport.
to pick someone else's too. So
right. So you get to screw somebody up. How about you, Veronica? Can you come on board with this one? She's gonna pick. She's gonna say, yeah, sure, and then make it one of the days that she's got.
Yeah.
She's got round table.
She's going back to Pittsburgh.
Well, remember, if she's got round table, so do I.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, right. You both win on that night. What do you think? Would you do it?
Let me think.
Veronica.
Oh, come on.
I know.
Somebody said Civil War music only.
I feel like we just went.
Oh, well, that could work. But I don't know if there's a karaoke version. Well, we can find. Come on, do it. It'll be fun. Have a beer
Don't leave me alone with the boys.
Just get loosey. Get a little loosey-goosey, and then you'll be fine.
Nobody wants to hear me sing.
No, that's
not
the
many
point.
people want to hear me talk.
That's
even
not true.
less want to hear me sing.
No,
so
no.
I'm
You're
already,
wrong.
you know.
No, dude, that'll be bit gold right there.
I think people would
for
like
everybody, for everybody involved. Because again, it's mutually assured destruction.
Exactly. We all look like fools.
So, as foolish as you think you might end up looking, you can make someone else just as foolish.
Yeah.
If you let me pick my own song, I'll do it.
You want to pick your own?
Yeah, I want to pick my own.
But the rest of us could pick each other's?
Whatever.
Do you guys agree to those terms?
Why don't you make a list of 3 songs that we can pick between?
All right, how about that? Can you give us a list of 3 songs you're comfortable 3 songs that you're comfortable with.
It's a list, one title long.
Nobody is. Do you think I want to do this?
Well, then why are we doing it?
Because we have to entertain the audience. Someone gives you an idea.
We don't already make big enough fools of ourselves.
Exactly, we don't.
What if we get Cam to do it with us?
Oh, he'd never do it. Country roads take me home.
That would probably be his choice.
If the only one that you could pick for him, though. You can't pick anything else.
No, he'd probably do some like yodeling type of hills and hollers type of song that nobody knows. Like, hey, that'll one of those.
I had him picked.
No actual words to it.
Right.
I had him picked as a real Gangster's Paradise kind of guy.
No. I think Cam's a little behind on music. I think he's up to Pat Boone right now. So we've got a ways to go before he gets to rap.
You think he knows any Marty Robbins?
Oh, he might. He might.
El Paso?
He would know more country than anything.
I do El Paso duet with him, dude.
I don't know that one.
Oh, it's great.
How's it go?
You trying to get me to sing prematurely?
Yeah, I want to hear El Paso. Pass the old El Paso.
No.
Taste the very best.
No. Shh.
Now, you got to do it or what?
It's a it sounds like a well, I'm gonna look it up. Okay, there it is.
Someone says Colby needs to do the Marine Corps hymn. All 3
there you go. From the halls of Montezuma
that
to
doesn't
the
even count
shores
as
of
karaoke. I sing that every night to go
Bubblegum
to bed, man.
What?
It doesn't count as karaoke. I sing that every night to go to bed. Kidding. I'm kidding. But,
so here, let me. So speaking of Colby and his laughing and everything like that, I have 14 laughs of Colby from last week, right?
Get out.
All like drug induced. And so let me see here. I'm just gonna go through some of them.
in all fairness, I'm listening to Cam at this point.
Yes.
So it's well deserved.
A lot of them are similar. Oh wait, here, this one here.
I'm dying right now. Truth. They gave it to him red hot. This is worth it. This is worth that Patreon subscription. You're gonna kill me in here. I can't handle it, dude. That is too much.
Gosh, you could.
I think
hear
that
it.
was like the 7th time.
There's Veronica singing.
As I recall it.
Which, by the way, I looked up the lyrics, and that in fact is what he said. And then my kazoo.
No, it isn't.
I recall it
Oh my god.
Oh my god, dude! I haven't laughed that hard. I can't tell you. That's actually what he said. That is, dude. Chandlersville was a big one.
Oh, here, listen. Wait, so I have a Bethany laugh, which killed me.
Right, you were there. Right, you were there. Right, you were there.
I've never heard that. I was right next to it.
I think she was laughing at this.
As I recall it.
Oh my god. Oh my
what
god.
a night.
Yeah. What a night indeed.
That was an interesting one, for sure.
Well, anyway.
I think I can go back and listen to that episode 10 times in a row and laugh just as hard every time.
I listened to the Cam part.
That's
like 7 times the next day. And it's so funny because like he doesn't curse.
And it sounds so like he is.
But it sounds like he is. And he's saying these like horrible things. Or one would think, you know.
Little creative suggestion there.
Yeah.
He does say Chandler's, or what does he say? Chandlerville too.
Something
Chandlersville, I think it. Yeah.
Oh, he was killing me. He said something. There was something about him giving.
John Hunt Morgan would later write of what happened at Saltville. Averell his men elegantly, but our boys gave them no time to If I had been 1 hour later, this place and the lead mines would have been lost. If we would have had 2 more hours of daylight, we would have the whole command. At Wrightsville,
who cares about Wrightsville?
Virginia, Averell collided at Cove Mountain near Crockett's Cove against a combined force of John Hunt Morgan and William Jones.
All right. So listen here.
I love how much more intense it gets when you go to the Matt Atkinson one. Like you start out with the one that
From
Veronica
Harper's
went
Ferry,
to.
Yeah.
And
that was kind of like
the tone
whatever.
and tenor gets so much more extreme at the Matt Atkinson.
Yeah, he's more like present in that one, I think. All right, so let's see. So it looks like we are going to do the karaoke contest. Veronica gets to choose her own song, but the rest of us are going to assign each other songs, okay?
All right.
Okay.
So next week, what we're going to do, so in the course of the week, think about what songs you would assign someone else, okay? And we have to figure out by the end of today's show or by the end at dinner maybe, who is going to choose for whom, okay? Right? Because, I mean, how else would you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to have to like pair off and then we got to like, but it's like, let's say I could choose for Colby, but Debbie could choose for me. Colby doesn't have to choose for me. You know what I mean? Oh, wait a second. That's not going to work because you're doing your own thing.
You do your own thing. Do a round, like a round. Debbie picks for you, you pick for Colby, Colby picks for her.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah. All right.
Or
It still works.
Or you could
really
just
want
let
to
us
get
pick you
crazy.
one.
Do 2 portions of 2 songs. One you pick, and one somebody else picks for you.
Oh, okay. So then that way we can see each other.
Do, like somebody gives you 3 choices that they've chosen the 3 songs, and you get to pick one of the 3 from that.
All right, we're going to have to mull this over.
But that being said, there's a board meeting for next Thursday, so I will not be.
And I am not here the Thursday after that.
Whoa.
All right, so it's off in the future.
Well, that's all right. Yeah, we'll do it for the fall. We'll work on this because we're going to have to practice, right?
We're
I mean,
gonna have to
everybody
recruit
should.
Cam,
Absolutely.
And we're going to have to get Cam. Cindy, would you like to partake in this as well? Is she in the bathroom?
She's hiding.
What did she say?
Waiting for an answer. She looks like she wants to say yes, but she's gonna say no.
Okay.
You know.
We'll work on her. But anyway, let's get on to this here. So we got a couple other things that I want to talk about, but we're going to not take up our guests' time any longer. So I'm going to take a break. We'll talk about this other stuff during the news segment here. On the way in after the break, ladies and gentlemen, is our buddy James Hessler. He's going to talk about something he's got coming up, and it's going to be fun. We always have fun with Jim, so we'll be right back.
Want to promote your Gettysburg business? Send an email to sales@addressinggettysburg.com.
Want the freshest cup of coffee in Gettysburg? Then visit Bantam Roasters, formerly 82 Cafe at 82 Steinware Avenue. They roast all of their coffee in-house, and they have a full coffee bar to keep you caffeinated during your trip. Visit them at www.raggededgerc.com for their menu and shipping options for all of their freshly roasted coffee. Use promo code Hancock for 10% off your order in the cafe.
Enjoy historical stories on the History Fix platform. Explore movies, short films, and documentaries. Addressing Gettysburg podcast fans receive an extra $5 off the first year's annual subscription. Sign up at historyfix.com and use promo code Gettysburg. Every subscription includes a 7-day risk-free trial. Escape into history with History Fix.
This episode of Addressing Gettysburg is brought to you in part by me, audiobook narrator Mike Scott, narrator of Savis Beattie's Bloody Autumn, the Shenandoah Valley campaign of 1864, and Unlike Anything That Ever Floated, the Monitor and Virginia and the Battle of Hampton Roads. If you are an author or publisher interested in having your titles produced as audiobooks, or even just in learning more about the process, give me a shout. You can find my contact info on my website, MikeScottVoice.com. That's MikeScottVoice.com.
The 1863 civilians of Gettysburg were reluctant witnesses to the Great Battle. Join Ken Rich, the man in the red shirt, for his historic town walking tours. You could book these tours by emailing ken@gettysburgtownhistory.com. That's ken@gettysburgtownhistory.com. And when you're in town, look for the guy in the red shirt.
And Civil War Trails. It's the world's largest open-air museum, and they offer over 1,300 sites across 6 states. Drive the Gettysburg campaign turn by turn, paddle to Frederick Douglass's birthplace, or hike to remote earthworks and artillery positions. Visit civilwartrails.org to request a brochure and explore their interactive map. Follow Civil War Trails and create some history of your own.
You're listening to the Addressing Gettysburg podcast with Matt Callery.
You're listening to the man who refuses to travel while single. I love that I never read these before I start doing them. Okay, all right. You're listening to the man who refuses to travel while single. Here's Matt.
Thank you, Huevos Grande. All right, so as you know, there is a blood feud between Addressing Gettysburg and the Battle of Gettysburg podcast.
Who?
And exactly.
Oh, Veronica.
Come on, that was a softball.
Sorry, that was a softball.
And as with any other blood feud,
They still record?
What?
Is that still a
They
thing,
just had a
or-
comeback.
We
Oh, I
did.
didn't-
You,
Yeah,
one of you was at our comeback
Both
party.
of us were.
Oh, were you there?
She arrived late when everybody left.
I don't remember that. Did I see
Must
you?
have already been drunk. Yeah, you did.
Did I see? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
all right.
no, I'm just kidding. You weren't drinking that
Yeah,
much. but
I never
yeah,
drink
you were-
that much. Not anymore.
Yeah,
I think there's a big picture of you guys floating around on Facebook there. So thanks for remembering.
Yeah. Well, that was our big comeback party.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, for
Good
the
to
10
see
minutes you were
everybody.
there, you loved it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I had a. So it was like there was one bartender and it was like 4 people deep. I couldn't get to the bar. It was hot. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go across the street and get a beer, and that's what I did.
Well, we told them specifically, look, we're going to have a party coming in. We think it'll be a good turnout. I mean, this was in the Reliance Mine, folks, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know.
And by the way, Jim Hessler's our guest today.
Yeah.
From
Hey,
the
hey,
Battle of
everybody.
Gettysburg podcast.
But, so we told them we had a group coming in, and, it really doesn't take a lot to fill that place up.
No.
Second person on duty, maybe
Right.
a backup plan,
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
So
Or free beer, just put it in a cooler.
Yeah. But I mean, I hope she made well on tips because
I'm sure.
one person hustling all night.
But it was a lot of fun, though, to see
Yeah.
everybody. It was a good group of people there. Everybody seemed to have fun.
Yeah.
It
I
was
think they
nice.
did.
And it was nice to welcome you guys back.
Exactly. Those nasty rumors that.
So what was that all about? Because I saw that in the description about, the comeback, and obviously it was a joke, but.
So I'm going to sanitize this. All right.
Okay.
So it's not going to be a fully accurate version, but it'll be close enough. So about mid-June, I was at the Little Bighorn Associates conference in Montana, and at a board meeting, I'm on the board.
Nice.
Important Little Bighorn business, and my phone is bzz, 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 doing this on the table. And so I got a text message, and, it apparently had been getting around that people were requesting Eric or I for tours and being told we don't do this anymore.
Do tours or do the podcast?
Tours. This was a touring thing. So, especially, so you guys know I guide full time. Eric is trying to make a living at it. You know,
Eric's like super full time.
That's cutting into somebody's ability to make a living.
Yeah.
Like, hey, folks, addressing Gettysburg, no longer on the air.
Right.
Stop donating. Stop watching. Right.
Don't listen to what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean that would be a thing. So
yeah.
So then kind of as a joke. Actually, Jody had the idea. You guys should have a coming out of retirement.
That was funny.
Party. It was actually Jody's idea.
So who started the rumor?
It doesn't matter.
But you know who?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
But tell me after the show.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure in Gettysburg it was an honest mistake. Because aren't they all honest mistakes in Gettysburg?
Of course.
Of
course.
That's
It's
a
not.
pretty hard thing to do, though. Like,
Well, you would
is it
think.
one person answering the phone being like, nope, sorry, they're not. Or was it like a big? Because. Well, whatever. Yeah,
I see what you're saying. Because if it's like the same person answering the phone and for weeks getting calls for Jim and Eric, and they're saying we don't do it.
Because if you just tell
Or they
one
don't do it.
person or something like that, and they're like, oh, okay. Like if I call and I say, hey, I want to have Jim. They're like, oh, he doesn't do it anymore. I'm like, oh, shoot. And then that would be the end of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like, I
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
go any further. I would take it for what it's like face value.
Well,
Like,
being a-
they don't
And
do
if
that, they do
you
other things.
wanted Jim and you didn't get Jim, you would never want to tour again, right? Because you just wouldn't want to.
Right.
Now,
That's really wild.
The podcasting thing I get, because, there have been times when we've had a little bit of a gap between episodes, weeks, months,
a year
in one case, kind of thing. So I can kind of do that. I don't really get too upset by that. But, when you're starting to mess around with somebody's ability to make a living.
See, that's the difference, though. Like when you've got those gaps with the podcast, but that's your side gig,
Right,
Right? That's not your day job.
That's like my fourth side gig.
Your
Right?
fourth, yeah, that's true.
yeah.
That's a good point,
Yeah.
right? So that's understandable and excusable. And when you have enough of a loyal fan base that they're going to listen when you put something out.
Exactly.
But yeah, you're right. Like when you're saying Jim and Eric don't give tours anymore, which is not true, then you're cutting into your ability because then the rumor gets around, and the rumors always they spread like wildfire in this town.
Oh yeah.
I heard a rumor, this crazy rumor that I was once a male model. Have you heard this one?
No, actually, where did that spread? I've never heard. I've never heard that one.
I wish I knew. It was before you moved here.
I heard you were a male prostitute.
Well,
but a
that's
model?
true.
I
That's
didn't
not a
hear that one.
rumor.
Okay, yeah,
I
well,
was.
yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's a Michael Scott moment. Yes. Now, all right. So,
I thought
Jim.
the joke was just about the podcast, so I'm sorry. That really is kind of.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was
pretty shitty. I mean, I didn't. I just thought it was a joke about haha. We haven't had an episode out for a while.
Yeah,
we're back.
So
that was right because I think I said to you, "Welcome back to podcasting" or something like that. Or
oh Christ, it was so loud in there.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
But that's what I thought it was. I thought the joke was that you have an episode coming out or something, and since it's the anniversary weekend, let's all get together and everything. But no, that's just you guys coming out of retirement from tours. Oh man, I love this town. I really do.
Yeah, you do. But we're like Stonewall Jackson, right? You turn lemons into lemonade. Right?
Yeah, you
Right?
suck
Might
on
be trying to
lemons
get that
and
backwards.
yeah, something like that.
But we had fun. We had fun, and hopefully now it's sort of reinforced. We're back, and again, especially for Eric, who's out there doing 10 a day kind of thing, and that's.
I see him so many times,
Yeah.
whether on a bus, on the carriage rides, in a car. I mean, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I was.
I don't go out to the field honestly. Like during the weekend stuff, I don't putz around on the field too much.
See,
But the
because
one time we were
we
out
got to
there-
work for a living,
Yeah.
right?
There is
We're
that.
out there on weekends,
There
but
is
Monday
that.
through Friday, we're doing something that in Gettysburg is called a job. And a lot of people don't have
A real
job.
That's true.
Kind of thing. So
It's a weird thing.
It is a good
The
thing.
one time I was out was when Jen and Mike had us out for a little impromptu.
Oh, yeah, I heard about
Eric
that
was
too.
right there.
I heard about that.
I said, so Eric was there with two people, and as they were passing, I said, "Don't believe a word this guy says." And he goes under his breath, he goes, "At least they hired a guide." And I was like, "No, oh, sorry, that was me." I took your head off. I'm sorry, Veronica.
Yeah, I thought she found Eric's comments so amazing that she was like ripping her headset off. I've never seen Veronica get all excited like
I will
that.
give you my chiropractor bill. Holy hell, man.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
You're right. Did I break your neck? No, he said that under his breath, and I was like, It sounds like he kind of meant it. And I was like, no, we're all just hanging out. Like, we're a group of friends.
We really,
yeah.
I heard, so everything except the idea of you being a male model makes its way back to me eventually. And
Yeah, that's weird.
I heard that one.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
No, it was just Jen and Mike were like, we're all going out, come on out. And like Dean Schultz was there, John Heiser was there. We were all just kind of walking around and telling stories. It was pretty fun.
It was really, I mean, I'm very sensitive about being left out of things, and that's all I'll say. That's all I'm saying. But no, I've only really known Jen and Michael. I think I hung out with them maybe twice last summer when I got to meet them officially, and then they've been super inclusive this summer with between CWI and just friendship in general. And they were like,
we've been having dinner with them every Sunday night. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Except for last week.
But Mike has these photos, right? Like that's his shtick.
That's his thing.
And he printed out, I don't know how many, 100 different whatever that would be, 18 by 24.
Yeah.
they were seriously they were awesome, but they were old historic photos, and to be on the site where these things were was pretty darn neat.
I love that stuff. Yeah, and see the old roads, like Webb Avenue and Harrow Avenue. I love seeing those old pictures and everything. So that was a lot of fun. I had fun.
Yeah.
But
so we're using my time talking about that.
About other people, yes.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about my favorite guide.
Exactly.
No, but all right. So here.
And all right, thanks. Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks for coming in.
It's Jim Hessler, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after these words. What was it, like a month or two ago now that you did that talk at the round table about Custer?
Yeah, the beginning of the summer, whatever that was.
Now, I have to tell you, Jimmy, I don't go to things, right? And not on any principle. I'm just lazy, and I'm too famous, yeah. No, I always hear about them after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
But this one I heard about, Veronica told me, and I was like, I have to go to this one. And there I was up front, and I was sitting there like a nerd, just listening, hanging on every word. I loved it. I told Colby before, because he has a podcast.
Oh, which one is
It's called America Fog of War.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know that one. All right, that's that Colby. All right, I get it.
Colby,
all right,
yeah.
okay.
It's a terrible show. Terrible show. But anyway, I said to him,
are you going to try to put him out of business too, or are you going to kind of let him exist?
What do you mean two? What are you talking about? Just keep going. Forget it. We'll talk about it later. So I said to Colby before, I said, Jim Hessler's coming on tonight. It'd be a good opportunity to invite him on your show. And I have an idea. I would love me and Jim to come on your show to talk about the Battle of the Little Bighorn. And Colby was like, okay.
Okay.
Right, Cole?
Definitely. We would love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
I think that would be fun.
I'm a huge Custer fan, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think it would be good. And because I love that. And I love listening to you talk about it. Now, is that what you're going to be doing? What are you here to promote?
Yeah, give me a second as I'm making a note. Fog of War, Custer. Before I forget about it.
Don't forget.
Yeah, so...
I didn't know you were a lefty.
I am a lefty.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard to sign books
That
as a
explains
lefty.
it.
Yeah, there's been a lot, but...
We're talking about his hand. He writes with his left hand.
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
So what am I here to promote? So, it's another Custer-themed event, and it is on... I'm making sure I get the date right. Saturday, August 12th, 2023. So not this coming Saturday, but subsequent Saturday. And that's 2023 for those of you watching this in the future. But August 12th, 2023, 2 Saturdays from now, it's going to be at the National Civil War Museum in Harrisburg. And it is our third George Armstrong Custer / Indian Wars Symposium. So I created this event in 2019.
Okay.
And we did that one in Gettysburg. And really the idea is just, look, we spend all year talking about the Battle of Gettysburg. We know we have history enthusiasts in and around here who are into Custer or cavalry or whatever. So in 2019, we kind of put this event together and said, look, maybe we can do something a little different, a Custer-themed event here on the East Coast, so you don't necessarily got to fly to Montana, to attend this thing. And it went very well in 2019. We did it again in 2021, and we're going to do it again in 2023. We don't plan on doing it every other year. It's kind of like podcasting. It just happens.
It works out that way.
But so we're going to do that. So it will be all day, again, National Civil War Museum in Harrisburg, and got a cool lineup of speakers and obviously some names that you know, and it should be a good day.
So who are some of the speakers besides yourself, of course?
Yeah, so besides me, we're going to have Eric Wittenberg.
I've heard of him.
Right? So probably...
Yeah, I know.
So, probably many people know is one of the premier cavalry historians. in the country. He's done, God, I couldn't even tell you how many books.
Yeah.
Getty,
it seems like everywhere I look, there's an Eric Wittenberg book. Yeah. He's got a lot of them.
Yeah. So he's going to talk on Custer in 1864 in the Overland Campaign specifically. Okay. And Eric, by the way, sits with me on the board of directors of the Little Bighorn Associates. So we're going to have Eric. We're going to have Jeff Wirt. Everybody knows Jeff Wirt, right?
Sure.
Now, Jeff spoke at our one 2 years ago. I can't remember what topic he did 2 years ago, but this year he's specifically going to do Custer in 1863.
Okay.
Fighting was his business is going to be the name of the presentation.
Now, Jeff, did he wrote a cavalry book, did he?
Well, he did a Custer bio.
Custer, okay.
Yeah, now it was probably, I think, mid-90s.
What's the name of that one?
Custer.
Just plain old Custer.
Find it on your shelf, Custer. Which I think is a pretty good. Well, it's more than pretty good, but it's a really good full-length bio. Kind of covering soup to nuts. Jeff is going to do that, and again, so we're going to have Jeff and Eric focusing on the Civil War. Custer 1863 and 64. So for you Civil War nerds out there, you got something there, right? Right, you got that. They're going to have a show and tell of artifacts, and don't we all love artifacts?
Oh, yeah.
Right, but artifacts, kind of themed to Custer. I think they got some George Crook-related stuff at the museum. So, we'll see what they kind of dig out of the archives for that. And then in the afternoon, I'm going to talk, and this is kind of a new one for me. Right? Because, not everybody's happy with me. I talk about guys like Dan Sickles.
You pick the controversial guys.
I pick the stuff people don't like. And, not everybody likes that. But so I thought, I had an epiphany one night. I said, what if I gave a talk about a nice guy? Like, how would that go? How would that go? Would that work? And then
how would that go?
So I picked George Yates. Who is
Captain Yates?
Yes.
Captain
Yates.
Okay, he was a nice guy.
I think he's a nice guy, and he's a Gettysburg veteran.
Mm-hmm.
He serves here at Gettysburg on Alfred Pleasanton's staff, so he checked the box on Gettysburg. He's with Custer all through the next decade on the plains, and then is literally killed with George on Last Stand Hill. So I think he's a guy that gets overlooked a lot. This is a Little Bighorn guy. People are always like, oh, I want to talk about Miles Keogh and Reno and Benteen. So
there's like 3 or 4 guys that everybody wants to talk about, but all the rest could go to hell.
Kind of the Trinity.
You mentioned Miles Keogh, and it's funny. I was watching.
I just said that's all anybody talks about.
I know, and now I'm going to talk about
me to say, oh, well, I got a Miles Keogh. Go ahead, it's your show, right?
I was watching. Which one of the John Ford Cavalry movies is it with Henry Fonda? Is that Fort Apache?
Yeah, I think so.
That one, whichever one it is.
Okay.
What? Go ahead.
No, go on. You first.
Okay. Well, they find out about the Little Bighorn.
Yeah, okay.
And John Wayne is at his wife's grave.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, Miles Keogh was killed with Custer. You remember Miles, And why was Miles the, secondary guy that everybody... why did he make it into that movie? Of all the people,
I know, it's crazy.
Wouldn't he have just couldn't he have just said, Colonel Custer was, you remember him? He tried to dance with you at the,
Why Keogh? How the hell should I know? Not Fort Apache. I think it's She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, but I know exactly.
You're right. It is She Wore. Yes, it is.
Exactly the scene I'm talking about.
He was testing you.
Yes. No, you're right. Because Fort Apache, the Henry Fonda one.
Next thing, the old photographs are going to come out. What avenue was this on? Kind of thing.
The Henry Fonda one is the one where his character is kind of loosely based on Custer.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's
whichever
right.
one that is.
Yeah,
but okay, go ahead.
Where was I?
I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Let's get back to your event.
It
was just an aside. So so you, who else now? So you're going to talk on Yates.
Yeah, and then last but not least, we have a friend of mine, Siobhan Fallon, who is she also sometimes goes by her married name Evans, but she's a novelist. She is a hardcore Little Bighorn enthusiast. She has a YouTube series where she does Little Bighorn thing. Yeah, Matt's writing it down. Check YouTube.
Is that SIOBAN?
SIOBHAN.
BHAN.
And last name is F as in Frank, ALLON.
Okay, that's a good Irish name.
Yeah, we're pretty sure she is.
Okay.
But she has been for a long time kind of working on a novel related to Libby Custer and kind of the Reno Court of Inquiry. So for anybody who doesn't know, the Reno Court of Inquiry was this investigative proceeding that they had a couple of years after the Little Bighorn to determine if Marcus Reno was, guilty of misconduct and, quote unquote, letting Custer die kind of thing. So she's been working on a book about that for a long time, and she's going to talk about that.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, she's going to talk about the role that Libby Custer and some of Custer's early biographers kind of played in that. So we think we got a good mix.
Yeah.
We got Civil War, we got Indian War. If you like Custer, we got plenty of Custer. If you don't like Custer, as hard as that might be to imagine, we cover other stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's so damn important, because we have, kind of the Civil War cliques.
Yeah.
The Indian War cliques. Very seldom do they intersect. They don't intersect as much as you think they might.
They should.
They should,
Yeah.
right? It's the same.
Because they're related.
It's the same people. If you're here with the Civil War, it's the same people 10 years later. And if you're into the Indian Wars, it's the same people 10 years earlier. I mean, you should. And I certainly think in Custer's case, that last decade on the plains, he's living off the fumes of being a Civil War celebrity.
That's what I was saying to Colby before is like, I think a lot of what drives him in those days is to recapture that glory of being the boy general that he had during the Civil War.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm imagining the country's war weary. They're not really interested in generals as much as they might have been. There's also no war. It's like
it's
a very different war, right?
That's exactly it.
It's like the wars we have today. They're over there. They're somewhere else. We don't see it.
Well, they're also they're a different style of fighting, but they're also like a different intensity of fighting too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're a smaller scale, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Than a lot of Civil War battles, but that'd be more akin to like the Japanese, our fight with the Japanese in the Pacific versus our fight versus Nazi Germany in Europe.
They're
very different.
And you're right, and that's a problem. You have the Civil War. Especially, during kind of the last stages, Appomattox campaign, which, we'll talk about a little bit later, I hope. But, where you can literally have a battle every day, you don't get that out west.
Right.
And so the types of things that you can do in the Civil War to build morale and your reputation and all of that, a battle every day in the Civil War might be a battle every 3 years out west.
And they're not, as compared to Civil War battles, they're not battles as much as they are as fights.
Well,
right?
That's funny. I talked kind of about the two universes of Civil War people and Indian Wars people, and I see this a lot. I see the Civil War people kind of like, that's not a real battle. Only 200 guys got killed, kind of thing. And then I see the Indian Wars guys kind of sometimes scoffing at the Civil War stuff. Well, at least they didn't all stand out in an open field and wait to get shot at.
Right.
So, like Colby said, two very different types of warfare, scale, frequency. It's all different.
Yeah.
And, while I think George Custer does a good job adapting to that, adapting to the changes during those later years, it does puzzle me why, as we said at the beginning of this, why somebody who's interested in one period isn't automatically interested in the other period.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
To me, I love them both the same.
Exactly.
Like, I find them both fascinating.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. It's a continuum of one story.
Right.
Like, imagine listening to the Battle of Gettysburg podcast and then not continuing the story with addressing Gettysburg. Right? I mean,
or vice versa.
Well,
either way. Yes, go from one to the other. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't, Jim. The people have to understand.
They do have to understand.
It doesn't matter. You can listen to them both.
I know. It's not
That's
like
what we prefer.
I mean, one day I'm going to get off my ass and finally put this network I've been talking about together, and the Battle of Gettysburg podcast is going to be a part of it.
We know. Well, we've talked about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you better get used to the two working together, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
And I got to talk to you about some other ideas that I have in the works that I want to include you guys on.
We're not having dinner every Sunday night like others are, but we hook up in the off season when nobody better is in town, right?
That's right. That's right. The summertime, it's the power play time. You have dinner with all the big shots. In the winter, you go, so what big shots did you have dinner with during the summer?
The people who need their career boost suggested while they're in town. Oh, let's have dinner with Calorie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how it goes. All right. So then give us the date and time again.
Yes, absolutely. So Saturday, August 12th, 2023, again, 2 weeks from now, National Civil War Museum. So doors are going to open at 8:45. Mr. Wittenberg is the first speaker at 9:15 a.m.
Okay.
And we're kind of targeting to be there all day. I mean, kind of when we're done, we'll be done, sort of thing. I do want to mention, too, so you can register on the National Civil War Museum website, and that's, I wrote it down, www.nationalcivilwarmuseum.org. But there's also a Zoom option. So if you can't get to Harrisburg, or, you're one of these crazy Gen Z kind of kids who prefers the technology to the human interaction,
Right.
sit in the comfort of your dark, studio apartment all day and watch it on Zoom.
There you go.
We can accommodate that.
Okay, that's cool. And then how would people get to watch it on Zoom? What do they have to do?
Well, they still got to register.
Okay. So you register, and then you'll get the information.
Exactly. So if you're a member of the Civil War Museum, it's $50 for the whole day. That includes lunch. I mean, come on.
That's not bad at all.
If you stayed in Gettysburg and ate lunch on Saturday, that would be $50.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So $50 for museum members. $60. Only a $10 difference for non-members. Like, again, what a bargain.
Right.
And the Zoom option is $30.
Okay.
So again, you can sit in your closet all day in your bathrobe watching this thing, unshaven and unkempt. For
Towels over your windows.
Exactly.
Yeah. Afraid of the world.
Worried about the government and all that stuff for
With your tinfoil hat. Yeah.
For $30. $30, people. Come on.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
All right.
All day.
All day. And that's going to be fun. Now, that's the 14th, you said? Oh, the 12th. The 12th.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We don't want people showing up on the 14th.
No, don't show up on the 14th.
We won't be there on the 14th.
He actually wasn't kidding, by the way. Some people would take that as a joke. He does not listen.
Yeah,
he does not listen.
I just let you just get. I'm trying to think of the next question.
I have questions lined up for me. I can ask some questions.
Go ahead, write one down. I'll ask it to you.
Jim, what else have you been working on? You could do that.
Okay. So what? You're such a
segue. Damn it, you guys.
Go.
Well, you were talking about the Zoom option, and there's another event coming up that there's no Zoom option for, right?
Which event?
Oh, Appomattox. Are we allowed to talk about that? Or
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
Is that just friends
Yeah,
and
because
family?
he said he wanted to get to it.
Yeah.
Just friends and family.
Yeah, absolutely. Veronica, what a great question. So, all right. So let's let me do a quick rundown here, just because this Saturday, August 5th, I'll be in Spotsylvania talking with those prolific kids at the emerging Civil War. But
yes.
I think that symposium's sold out. But Veronica, August 21st, I'll be in your hometown of Pittsburgh to talk to the round table up there. August 15th, I'm doing a Zoom with Wittenberg's Chambersburg seminar to do the Sickles murder trial, which you came down to D.C. This is kind of the Zoom version of the trial. That's neat. And then finally, I'm getting to the question. Yeah, so Labor Day weekend, the self-dubbed Hessler Spoggy Action Travel Organization, which is really just a friends and family thing that we do.
It's a good name, though.
Well, in it HSPAT, which kind of
HSPAT
rolls off the tongue, kind of thing.
Right, it's really an attractive name.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and all the different variations. No, we've thought of that. But it catches your attention, right?
Yeah, it does.
Now you'll never forget it. Yeah. So we do a couple friends and family history events a year. We did Washington. Again, Veronica and her mom, Kathy, come to a lot of our stuff.
Tombstone was a neat event.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys went out there.
Kathy.
I got sicker than a dog at Tombstone, but other than, remember? Well, remember I got sick forever.
Oh, yeah,
that was crazy. And I was sick forever. So anyways, Labor Day weekend this year, it's the Appomattox campaign. So we're going to do September 2nd, September 3rd. I think we've got about 20, a little under 25 people signed up for that one. So we're going to do a 2-day deep dive on the Appomattox campaign with historian Patrick Schroeder. So he's an NPS historian over there. He's written books on Appomattox. He's going to take us around for Saturday and Sunday of Labor Day weekend. So that's going to be cool.
It sounds like you have every weekend something going on between now and Labor Day. Is that right?
I do. Well, I think my next open weekend, no lie, is like the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Really?
So even if you invited me to join you on these Sunday dinners, it would be hard to do so. Yeah.
I see. Well, you're invited to this Sunday. It's our last one.
Oh,
so.
I'd love to come. Wink, wink.
So no, but here's a question I have, because I'm trying to answer this for myself, and you are very, very busy. How do you keep up your energy? How do you do anything else with your life?
Yeah.
Because you have a day job during the week. You have a real job.
Yeah.
9 to 5?
Yeah, 9 to 6.
9 to 6.
Because I put in that extra time. 9 to 6.
Dedicated worker. So 9 to 6.
Yeah.
I mean, you come here.
Right.
Right. So today, I mean, you're not here every day, but you're probably doing other things on weeknights. Like, how do you find the time to manage your life?
I don't know. I don't know that I have a life anymore. Because, I mean, really, right? I mean, you could go out and have fun on weekends, and every weekend I'm like, well, I got to work. The weekend job is fun, but a job is still a job.
But that's exhausting because you're not getting any downtime.
It is exhausting.
So what do you? Is your downtime the winter? Do you get, or you're doing stuff in the winter?
Yeah, because now we're doing stuff in the winter too.
Well, good for you. Good for you. I mean, you got the energy. I wish I had that energy.
I don't know though that I have the energy. I think I'm just faking it.
Are you?
Yeah, I think so.
Because you're pushing 40. You're going to be 40 soon, and someday you're going to find that it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
I know.
You'll see. Get here.
You'll see. Yeah. Now I have to call attention to the scarf you've got. If you can go to camera 3.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. What?
He's promoting his stuff. If somebody wants to go to Appomattox, how do they do these things? How do they join? Are there spots open?
Wait a second.
Somebody else asked,
Jim Hessler's
can
here
you
later.
Please repeat the date for the Pittsburgh event. That was Kevin, which I'm assuming means Kevin might be in the Pittsburgh area. He's asking for
No!
Is that the 21st?
First of all, Veronica, thank you for being the one person here who is paying attention to anything I'm saying.
Chattanooga.
Oh, by the way, I am going to be at Chatlersville. I'm going to be back. Yeah. I'm going to be back there. That'll be later in September for our friends at the Gettysburg Foundation.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
God.
Pittsburgh, August 21st. I think that's a Monday night.
Yeah, they normally. So that's the Western Greater Pittsburgh Civil War Roundtable. They do their Monday meetings.
Okay, good. Because I do always get the Pittsburgh Roundtables mixed up. So I was afraid somebody was going to ask me which one.
Yeah.
So that's Monday night, the 21st of August. Going to talk about, that'll be more of they asked me to talk about the peach orchard type stuff. So, there'll be some sickles and peach orchard and stuff thrown in. Yeah, so whoever asked that question, please come. Would love to have you. To Appomattox, again, it's Labor Day weekend, September 2nd, September 3rd. You can register on our website, which is the battleofgettysburgpodcast.com. We have our own event store there and stuff like that. Like
Bleep that, Colby.
Like you guys do. Like you guys do. But you can go check that out. Now you've missed the hotel block, which expired yesterday. But your people don't care about that.
They
just want the history.
They want the history. They don't care about
Patreon people are rolling in cash.
Now, what is it you're going to be doing at Chandlersville?
That's going to be for our friends at the Gettysburg Foundation.
Okay.
So one of the end of September is First Corps Muster.
And I'm pretty sure that's sold out, unfortunately.
Oh, is it?
Oh, is that sold out?
But this might help you, though. I have a piece of information about the Battle of Chancellorsville that you might not be aware of.
Oh, good.
What is that one?
It goes like this.
Give you a little background in his earlier duties prior to him coming to Virginia. He, following the Union defeat at the Battle of Chancellorsville, Hooker, who had him relieved and would be sent to Virginia.
So you might want to throw that in. If you're talking about Averell, if you're talking about Averell.
Oh, is that who that was?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was an interesting
John Hunt Morgan would later write of what happened at Saltville. Averell his men elegantly, but our boys gave them no time to
So I don't know if that's going to help you. Probably not talking about Saltville, but whatever.
I can curse up a blue streak in my personal life, but professionally, I try to keep it family friendly.
Yeah. We've given up on that.
Everybody's heard everything these days.
No,
you didn't ask me what you were about.
So I was going to get into the scarf here because now, did you have this at the round table?
I did.
You did. Okay.
This has become my signature piece.
Where'd you get it?
I think Michelle got it for me for Christmas.
Where do you find such a beautiful scarf?
beautiful,
Have
isn't
you
it?
shown Pete Carmichael?
I haven't seen Pete since I got that. Well, I didn't see him in CWI, but no, I didn't.
But you didn't
wear
have
it.
the scarf
I didn't
on,
wear
yeah.
the CWI.
Yeah, he would love it.
He would love it.
Shiny.
So, is Pete a regular watcher, you think? Viewer?
Regular, I don't know. Randomly, he catches things, I think. But I'm going to show him. I'm going to make
Okay.
sure he sees this.
It is beautiful.
It is. I mean, you should see it on camera. It's even nicer. Look at that. I mean, it really stands out.
Lovely signature piece.
Now we got to get you the rest of the uniform, though. Would you wear it if we all pitched in and got you the Custer uniform?
Well, I mean, Christ, if you people are doing karaoke, the least I can do is dress like Custer, right? Maybe. I think I'm working that night.
You can do karaoke dressed as Custer.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that.
I think
Let's think about that.
We wouldn't get the black velveteen one. We would get the regular old.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, well,
That's expensive.
And it probably
And who the hell would
too.
make it? Oh,
Yeah,
it's
probably.
so hot.
Yeah. Yeah, probably nice. Just sort of.
Just a regular old uniform.
Just a
but,
major general jacket. You know, nothing too.
Yeah.
Some of the gold braids.
but we'll definitely get you the hat. Dirty Billy makes that hat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I look forward to receiving that from you.
Right. We're gonna spend a couple $1,000s on Jim's uniform
Yeah,
that he'll never wear.
I'll wear it if you get it for me.
Once.
Well, you think about this. You know, our friend Ken Rich is the red shirt.
Right.
This is kind of
Red
becoming
scarf.
my signature piece. Only when I do Custer stuff. It's kind of a little bit of a lucky kind of.
I believe, though, I've read descriptions where it's described as scarlet and not red. Does that sound familiar to you?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. And, there have been some accounts of, dare I say, at times it was even yellow. Could be different.
Faded.
Yeah. We're just out at the Yellowstone for the Little Bighorn Conference last month, and he wore, at that one, he wore like a red shirt, an AP Hill-like red
Really?
shirt, which you often don't think of.
No, you don't.
You don't think
no.
of that. So.
You just think of like the buckskin or the sailor
Exactly.
shirt or the fireman shirt, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, he probably owned multiple pieces of wardrobe and not just the same scarf and jacket
You mean he
that he
didn't
just
have
wore
one outfit?
over and over and over. Right? Imagine that.
I know, man. You sit down, you take one picture that becomes famous, and everybody
Exactly.
thinks you wear the
Right.
same thing all
Right.
the time.
Right.
All right. And what else do you have, Jim? Anything else?
I don't think so. August 15th, I know I already mentioned it, but again, you can all sign up on Zoom. The Chambersburg Civil War seminars. You want to do the Sickles murder trial. Murder, mayhem, sex,
We love it.
adultery. It's going to be fun.
One leg.
I think sign up for that is like $5 or something. That'd be like your Starbucks for the day, kind of thing. And I don't know, just working on all kinds of crap. So.
Do you have
all right.
time for one listener question?
One listener question. By the way, if you have, if you can do it quickly, folks, you can call in and ask Jim a question directly. Go ahead.
So we have Grant who asked, does Jim like Reno or Benteen more?
Oh, good. Great question, Grant. Thanks. In terms of quality of performance at Little Bighorn, they both have their issues, but you got to go with Benteen. I think Benteen is the older, sort of sarcastic type, but ultimately when the chips are down in Little Bighorn, Benteen comes through.
He's the leader.
Yeah, but I have been empathetic and more empathetic than a lot of the Custer people want to hear over the years to Reno, primarily because Reno's got some good Civil War service. At the end of the day, we are Civil War people.
Right.
He becomes a hot mess on June 25th and 26th, 1876. But so I guess to answer the question, if you got to put a gun to my head, I'd say Benteen.
So let me ask you a question about Reno, though. Because there's that whole inquiry and everything, and he calls for that, right?
Yes.
To defend himself and clear his name. What is the result of it?
So, and first of all, again, this is something that Shaban will be talking about. This is one of the topics we're going to cover on Saturday, August 12th, 2023. Ultimately, the results are officially that Reno is exonerated. But then there are some complaints kind of behind the scenes in terms of, we're not sure that all the officers were telling the truth. They might have been covering up for the honor of the regiment. Somebody says something like, all we could do was damn Reno with faint praise. But ultimately, the official view was that he was, exonerated, although they even then acknowledged that some officers like Benteen did more, to ultimately secure the safety of the rest of the regiment. That's what Little Bighorn people, that's the kind of stuff we argue and debate about to this day. Right?
So, like, you know how Sickles, when he's back in Washington before this battle is over, he starts bashing Meade.
Yeah.
Right? And then that kind of takes on a life of its own. Right. Is because Reno asked for this inquiry. So obviously he's getting a bad rap before the inquiry, obviously, right? And that's why he calls for it.
Yeah.
Where does that start? Who does that start with?
Well, it starts with there's whispering among the surviving officers. And there's, whispering and rumors and kind of innuendo to the effect of Reno lost his head, Reno wanted to abandon the wounded, some saying that Reno had been drinking and things of that. So it kind of starts there. But one of Custer's earliest biographer, kind of a fawning Civil War veteran by the name of Frederick Whitaker. Whitaker writes not only a very positive Custer biography with the assistance of Custer's widow, Libby. But Whitaker then kind of starts making accusations that he has, evidence to the effect that, Reno was, drunk and derelict in his duty. And it also makes those allegations against Benteen, but those don't seem to stick as much. But they stick with Reno. So it's kind of this combined public offensive from Whitaker, the biographer, and a lot of behind-the-scenes snickering that eventually, gets Reno to call for it.
It sounds to me like Reno kind of like lost his head, right? And Benteen, who is a captain and Reno's a major, he's got to take command. He's got to pull Reno together and pull the troops together and form a defense, and he takes over. So I'm with you on Benteen over Reno because he's the leader.
The crux of this, for anybody who's maybe not as familiar with the story, Benteen with a couple companies had been sent off kind of over to the side on a reconnaissance. Benteen comes back onto the trail as Reno's kind of getting his butt handed to him, attacking part of this Indian village, which they think is running and isn't running. But Benteen's recipient of what is basically Custer's last message that says to the effect of, Benteen, come on, big village, be quick, bring packs, P.S. bring packs. Hey, from memory, Veronica.
Yeah, you kind of...
And so getting a train of thought on that. Benteen's coming back on with this message. So Benteen then encounters Reno, who's kind of shattered. Reno says, for God's sake, stop, halt my command, halt my command's been, 50% casualties. And again, that becomes part of the crux of the argument. Should Benteen have ignored Reno and gone on to Custer? Would that have saved Custer and the 5 companies? Or did Benteen do what he had to do in stopping to help Reno and, as you said, ultimately put this defense together that does, save what's left of the other 7 companies of the regiment? It's all part of the great debate.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. And a lot of people don't realize that it's not Custer's whole command that gets wiped out.
Right.
It's like a third?
Yeah, well, he's with 5 out of 12 companies. So,
yeah,
and then, whatever casualties Reno and Benteen add on top of that.
Right. So it's just Custer's battalion, basically, that's going to get wiped out. And then there's a whole other thing. I mean, it goes on for like another day. With Reno and Benteen up on that hill there.
The Battle of June 26.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because a lot of times I encounter people who are like, why would you be so interested in this thing? It's only a couple hours long. No, first of all, it's a campaign.
Right.
And it's, the Battle of Little Bighorn is a 2-day battle.
Yeah.
And a lot of people check out like when Custer is killed. They're like, okay, I'm done. They don't care anymore.
Yeah, because that's the end of the movie.
Right, exactly. No, it goes on for another day. And
that's why Son of the Morning Star is such a good series because they cover all that stuff. They cover that, Benteen and Reno are up on that hill and there's a little more to it. I mean, they don't go
They don't
too far into it, but they at least acknowledge that it's not over with Custer.
Right, because you would have gone from 4 hours to 6 hours.
Right. Real quick, you had said, I can't remember if it was at the round table or if it was when you were on the show and we were talking about Little Bighorn a couple of years ago, but you had said lieutenant colonels do not make Indian policy. Yeah. And I think that's important for people to understand. Custer is not going willy-nilly all over the plains just slaughtering people.
Exactly.
He is a cog in the wheel. And is it a cog in the wheel? Is that the phrase I'm looking for? Whatever. You know what I'm saying. He's a brick in the wall. And
all in all, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And the policy comes from Washington,
Right.
and he's carrying out that order,
Right.
just like every other thing almost every other thing that he was involved in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's not just going out as a renegade.
No, and that's an important point because we do encounter people who think, oh, he's just out riding around looking for villages. No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's part of right or wrong, and you can have problems with the Indian policy and the Army's execution of that.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
he had problems with the Indian policy, by the way.
I mean, but at the end of the day, like all the other officers in the field, he's doing what he's ordered to do, and part of the goal in the 1876 campaign is to round up Sitting Bull and try to get Sitting Bull's band back on the reservation.
Mhm.
That's what Custer's doing.
Well, Jim Hessler, thank you very much. I guess can everybody go to Battle of Gettysburg podcast's website to find all this information, or do you just have that one event on there?
We have any events that I'm doing by myself. The National Civil War Museum event again is on their website or that. So I'm giving back to the community.
Right. Okay. Good.
There's a way for folks to follow you though. If they're on Facebook, you have your own
Right.
fan page, right, or like a.
HSPAT, is that what we called it?
Why, thank you, Veronica. Yes, I do. I do have James Hessler's Gettysburg History on Facebook. True story, I originally created that page because every time, I used to mix personal and history stuff on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I got tired of people saying Sickles sucks every time I posted a picture of my kid. So I started the second page. And then, as the career took off, I got to do other stuff. But yeah, James Hessler's Gettysburg History, follow, share on Facebook, all the above.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jim Hessler.
Thanks, guys.
Battle of Gettysburg podcast. Check it out and check out Jim's stuff. We'll talk to you later. We'll be right
We
back.
are too. We'll be right back.
Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center, Gettysburg's premier museum, is housed in the historic Lutheran Seminary building constructed in 1832, a witness to the first day of battle. The museum's 3 floors of exhibits connect visitors to the dilemmas that led to the Civil War, provide a powerful and personal view of the battle's first day, and explore one of the battlefield's largest hospitals. No visit to Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center is complete without a guided tour of the building's famous cupola, where on the eve of battle, officers and civilians saw thousands of Confederate soldiers' campfires burning to the west, and Brigadier General John Buford watched for vital federal reinforcements as fighting erupted on the morning of July 1st. Today, you can stand where Buford stood and discover how this view helped chart the course of the Battle of Gettysburg. Your trip to Gettysburg is not complete without a serious visit to Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center, Gettysburg's premier museum. Purchase tickets online at seminaryridgemuseum.org or call 717-339-1300.
To get tickets or a cupola tour, listeners may call or walk in and mention addressing Gettysburg, or by ordering online using the promo code AG1863 for 20% off.
Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center. It began here.
There's a devil to pay.
If you're a lover of history, then go to trhistorical.com. There you'll find apparel, drinkware, decor, and more featuring a wide range of interests from the ancient world to the Cold War. Looking to make an impression with the perfect gift? Well, TR Historical now offers gift cards and a vintage wrapping service for a truly unique presentation. And our listeners will receive 10% off plus free shipping in the U.S. when you use promo code GBERG1863. So go to trhistorical.com, TR Historical, for the love of history.
Think outside the bus and let family-owned Gettysburg Tours take you on a cycling journey across the picturesque and historic Gettysburg battlefield. There's no better way than by bicycle to gain a feel for the terrain of the battlefield. Slow enough to see it all, yet fast enough to do it all. Follow the route of Union troops entering the fray as you ride to the site of the first shots of this epic 3-day battle. Feel the drama as you put yourself in the position of a Confederate soldier just before he steps off to make Pickett's charge. Take a stand with the heroic Colonel Chandler Chamberlain on the slopes of Little Round Top, just before you view the fields of honor beneath you from its summit. All of our guides are officially licensed by the National Park Service. So don't get a sore neck trying to see out of your car, and saddle up with Getty's Bike Tours for a 360-degree view of America's most important piece of real estate. Getty's Bike Tours. Think outside the bus. Go to gettysbike.com or call 717-752-7752 to book a battlefield experience you will never forget.
You've heard us promote various ways that you can help us keep the show going, but one way we haven't pushed too much is our sutlery at addressinggettysburg.com/shop. That's a shame because we have designs over there by talented artists like Ty DeWitt of 1863 Designs and Mike Stretch of the Heritage Depot. So now we're promoting it. Buying shirts, hoodies, mugs, and other items from our sutlery not only helps us keep the lights on, but it also helps guys like Ty and Mike, and it helps spread the word about the show every time you wear an item or you sip from your mug. So head over to addressinggettysburg.com/shop and grab some merch. It's the perfect Christmas gift for the Gettys nerd in your family. That's addressinggettysburg.com/shop.
Have you noticed our revamped website at addressinggettysburg.com? Well, that's the fine work of a man named Mike Stretch, and he also redid our logo for us. Both of them I originally designed, and both of them were originally horrible, but now they're nice, and that's all thanks to Mike. Mike has an awesome t-shirt company called Heritage Depot. There you'll find great designs based on Gettysburg and the Civil War with t-shirts and other types of merchandise. So go to heritage-depot.com and spruce up your Getty's Nerd wardrobe. That's heritage-depot.com. Our favorite bookstore in Gettysburg is For the Historian, located at 42 York Street. It's because they have the best selection of Civil War books in Gettysburg, both new and used, and online they have even more to choose from. And if the Civil War isn't your thing, that's not a problem. This is For the Historian, after all. They cover history from the ancient world to the 21st century with a strong selection of World War II and American Revolution books. It's astounding how many thousands of titles from Osprey, Savas Beatty, UNC Press, and more they have in their store. And that's because, well, they have a warehouse too. And that's where they keep all the books that are available online at forthehistorian.com. And folks, if you go to forthehistorian.com now and order books until you're blue in the face, be sure you mention that you heard about them on Addressing Gettysburg in the Note to Seller box, and they will refund your shipping costs. And if you prefer to stop by when you're in town, well, you could do that too. Just mention Addressing Gettysburg at checkout, and they'll take 20% off the retail price of your item. So go to forthehistorian.com or stop by 42 York Street, or you can call them at 717-685-5207. That's forthehistorian.com or 717-685-5207.
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Over 1 million total downloads and counting. You're back with AG Today.
Hey. We are back from our bathroom breaks. So that was a lot of fun having Jim on there. I always have fun with Jim. He's funny. He makes me laugh. So, a lot of people, every time I have him on, I always get people saying, you guys should do a show together. You know, do a little Bighorn show together, which I would love to do, but I just don't have the time to do it. And he doesn't either, as we established. Yeah. Neither one of us have any time. You know, but I had to go run down to the bathroom.
As I recall it,
That's
well played.
That.
As I recall it,
You will never live that down. Ever.
Oh, God. Anyway, so let's see.
That should be your karaoke song.
It should be. Would you do that for? Is that what your choice was going to be? Is that what it was going to be?
You've already recorded part of it.
Yeah, right. You're almost there. 717-420-1978 if you want to call in and shoot the shizer with us. Let's see. What did I want to tell you about? Oh, Alderson Brodesson. Do we have... this isn't the news segment exactly yet, but actually, you know what? We'll save that for the news. Cindy, can you pull that article up that you were reading, please? And I don't know, text it to me or something like that. Let me give you a couple of listener emails here, okay? These lovely people take the time to write us emails, and I want to share it, of course. This is from Jeremy Harrison. He says, I just came across this old message. This is from thanking him for becoming a patron. Now, because I logged in to make sure everything was good to go with my renewal tomorrow. It's been an awesome first year following Addressing Gettysburg, and I feel it's about to get even better with the new studio. It was great running into you at Savorhood during the 160th, and I look forward to hanging out in the future with the AG cast. Here's to another year of friendship, memories, and second to none Civil War content. Thanks for all you and the crew do for us Gettys nerds. You're very welcome, Jeremy. William Segrist says, I just got done watching your episode from a few years ago on the history of the PA Reserves. My grandfather belonged to the PA 6th Reserves from start to finish. You enlightened me so much. I knew his brigade did a lot to save Little Round Top, but you shed more light on the specifics. Thank you so much for your dedication to educating people of our rich Pennsylvania history. Well, I have to really give the credit to Eric, the producer, for that, because he was behind any PA Reserve stuff that we did, and he got the guests on for those and everything like that. So that thank you is much more so due to Eric than me. Meg O'Brien says, hi, Matt. Sorry for the delay. Busy finishing school this year. I have listened to your podcast for a while and also watched videos on YouTube. I also try to attend the Addressing Gettysburg Book Club when I can. You make some amazing content, and I figured it was time to support all that you do to support history teachers like myself. You are doing great work and is very much appreciated. I am headed to Gettysburg for the 160th, and I hope to catch your talk at the Seminary Ridge Museum. I don't know if she ever did.
Who was that?
Meg O'Brien. Huh. I don't know, Meg. Were you there? I don't know. Peter Kulos. I'd been listening to Civil War Talk Radio for years and did a search to see if there were any other related podcasts. Yours came up, and I've been listening ever since. Guilt and your teasers pretty much convinced me that I should support the show. The content is top notch. Patreon.com/Addressing Gettysburg. Sandra Oldfield says, met you at the CWI conference, and like I said there, art costs money. Thank you, Sandra. I think she's in Canada, actually.
Oh, how about that?
And finally, Brendan Harris. He says, hi, Matt. Thank you for the content and what it means to me. Since I began listening to your podcast and watching your videos, I have made the trip to Gettysburg from California for your first overnight at the Seminary Ridge Museum and your live show with Bo Brinkman and Patrick Gorman. I remember him. Not Bo Brinkman and Patrick Gorman, of course. I mean, remember Brendan and all that. All of your episodes have been informative and helped me contextualize my thoughts while completing my doctorate, which ended up being about Union veterans' experiences at Gettysburg after the battle. However, your most significant impact has been your PTSD episode. As part of my regular duties at work, I am part of my department's peer support team. The team aims to help coworkers who have dealt with trauma and situations that cause PTSD. One of the roadblocks that many people have is understanding that dealing with situations that can cause trauma after the event is not new. What has changed is how people are willing to acknowledge it. The episode's timing coincided with National Police Week, and I had different people listen to parts to understand that it is okay to be affected by traumatic events, even in the 1800s. Thank you for everything you do, and keep up the great work, Brendan Harris. Thank you very much, Brendan. That means a lot to me because I feel for people who go through that, and I know that Rob Abbott and all the guys that we had on that episode took it very seriously, and I kind of like let them take the reins on that one because I didn't want to do something that screwed it up, and so they were very worried about doing it right and doing it respectfully, and so I was like, you know what, you lead the way, I will follow, Colonel, because Rob is a colonel, so I say, okay, I'm going to follow you. You're the leader. And so I'm glad that did something good for you there. All right, let me ask you guys a question. I'm going to open this up to everybody, all right? You go somewhere, like... where
do you go?
I don't know, anywhere. Let's say, Colby, well, you go to the vape shop to get your stuff, right?
Well, we could go to Walmart.
No, I'm saying, let's say you went to the vape shop to get your stuff there, right? Did they have like the little iPad checkout kiosk register thing, right?
Yeah.
Was there an option for a tip?
Yeah, everywhere.
Okay, what is that about? Like, these are not tipped jobs. We've talked about this, off air.
There's that immediate pressure. You feel like you should leave a tip.
You feel like an asshole. And it's like, it's the same thing as like when you go to the grocery store and they ask if you want to round it up to the next dollar to donate to some starving child without an eye or something like that.
Throwing the guilt trip.
It's the guilt trip. And you're like, well, God, it's only 3 cents. Okay, fine, you do it. But you know what? No, I've started saying no because inflation. I need every cent I can get nowadays. So I don't do it, but I feel like a jerk. And I feel like there's a record somewhere of, like on my Giant card, it's attached to my Giant card. He does not donate. And someday this is going to bite me in the ass.
Suddenly those coupons stop showing up at your house.
Yes, exactly. They actually have. That's pretty interesting. Maybe there's something to this. But what do you think about that, Veronica? Do you have thoughts on this matter?
Yeah, I mean, there have been even articles recently in, I don't know, Time and things like that. Like, I mean, national spotlights on the fact that we are trending towards more like tipping and expectations of tipping and, even non-service related spots. And it seems like it's a purely American kind of thing.
Oh, it's definitely an American thing.
Yeah, I've seen other places where they're like, you people are weird for this tipping thing. Like, we don't do this in Europe and stuff like that.
We pay our people enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's
basically what it is.
That's part of it.
One argument, yeah.
I mean, they say that, like, being a waiter in Europe is a career choice, and you don't need to tip because they get paid enough.
Yeah.
I wonder why, like, how that works. Like, how is it they can do it that way, but we can't?
Greed.
No, I don't think it is greed. That's such an easy answer. I think it's more like it's so everything is so expensive over here. Now, I will give you greed on this, like pharmaceuticals, right? Mm-hmm. You can get something for 2 cents a pill in Canada, and then or anywhere, France, anywhere, it doesn't matter, right? But here it's $38,000 a pill. How does that even make any sense, right? I'm not trying to get political, but I mean, it doesn't make sense. So there is greed for sure, but I think the mom and pops, their margins are so small, you can't be greedy. There's nothing to be greedy about. You're just trying to keep your head above water. And I think, but I mean, it's like, but there's got to be a way the businesses work where France, they can make a career out of being a waiter, but here you can't. So that tells me that the cost to the restaurateur is too high here in the United States. Everything's too high. Water's too high. Electric's too high. Everything is way too high. And insurance, and I don't know. That's my guess. It doesn't matter. But anyway, what do you think about that? Do you tip on a non-tipped job when you go to, check out somewhere?
I'm trying to think of.
If there's a service, I feel like I feel like I'll leave a tip. I like tipping a service,
But define a service.
I guess because that's true. Because I don't know, I wouldn't tip like the guy that works on my car. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like that.
Well, that guy I would tip.
I mean, I get that. Like, if he did a really good job, I would tip him. But like in my mind, the way I'm breaking it down, I wouldn't look at that the same way as I would like obviously a waitress or somebody that's working. Like if I go, if I go to the vape store, for instance, and I ask for something and they hand it to me over the counter, that's not a tipping interaction.
But they have the tips, the tip thing
they
on
have
the
tip
thing.
option on there.
And I got to imagine that you could take that off when you're setting it up, right?
I would assume.
I would assume so too. But go ahead, your thoughts.
I'll be careful what I say, right? Because it's going to be quite candid or quite obvious what I'm talking about.
Well, don't name
here,
any places.
Right. So there's, the traditional restaurant where you sit down, a waiter or waitress comes over and takes your order. They come back to refill your drinks. They make sure the food's okay. They bring out the food to you.
Yep.
They, they're your contact between the kitchen and your mouth, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like that is a tradition, whether it's right or wrong, that traditionally that is the kind of role that we tip.
Right.
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 These newer places like, and even, I mean, chains, for example, right? You go through a McDonald's drive-thru. You ever feel the need to tip?
No.
Right?
No.
Because why? They're not really, I mean, they're literally just getting it and passing it on to you. There's not
and they're getting
much
paid a good hourly wage compared to a waiter.
Fine.
There's no additional skill required in paying attention to.
Or even
do
service.
you need the stuff?
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. I mean, so other places, I've seen the trend now where you walk up to the counter, you place your order on the kiosk, you have to go back when they tell you it's ready.
Yep.
But yet when you're scanning your credit card, they're like, okay, what tip do you want to leave?
Right.
It's kind of like,
I'm
I don't
with you.
why. Like, what am I tipping?
So
you're
let me-
making the food, I'll give you that, but I'm standing as close as you and I are standing. I'm ordering the food. I'm paying. I'm normally taking a cup with me to go to the fountain or the soda dispenser, right? I'm finding my own seat. Hopefully it's clean. I don't know. Sit down. I wait there until hey, Veronica, your food's ready or whatever. I get a text or whatever. I walk my happy ass back up to the counter. I get the food. I take it back. I get my utensils, napkins. I get all that stuff myself. And nobody comes and refills or checks to make sure that the food is cooked properly or it's warm enough or it's to my liking or how are you doing, and no interaction beyond that. But as soon as you go to check out,
they want that tip.
Yeah, the last screen is, hey, by the way, so it's awkward because just like I said, you were doing all this right in front of the person arm's length away from you who's back behind the counter, right? So do you not? I mean, if I fall into the thing of I tip,
because I'm afraid.
What am I tipping? This is.
I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. But I'm afraid to not tip because they're making my food.
Right. Oh well, that too. Yeah.
So it's well, am I going to get an extra ingredient in this? Do I have to do I have to stand here and watch them make my food, or do I just tip them the 15% and just for the peace of mind?
Right.
So and you're right. And it's not just this one place you're talking about because it's other restaurants that are traditional restaurants and used to be traditional restaurants. When COVID hit, they changed the way they did things and there was no longer service. So you go up to, say, the bar, you place your order. So I'm taking and placing my own order.
Right.
So right there, I don't have a waiter doing it, so you're getting less.
Yeah.
And then maybe they'll bring the food out to me and put it at my table.
Yeah.
But nobody comes back and says, can I get you anything else? Do you need a refill on your drink? I have to go get a refill on my drink.
Right.
Now, there could be staffing shortages. There could be a bunch of reasons that make it legitimate, and this is why they do it. But why do I still have to feel compelled to tip?
Yeah.
Especially because a lot of restaurants now are they're not paying $15 an hour, but they're paying more than $2.85 an hour like they used to, right?
Which was the traditional
way
to
because there was the assumption that they would make it up in tips.
Yes.
Right.
So part of that is we've created this culture of the assumption is you're going to tip regardless. Mike, 6 questions. Makes a good point. He says, in fast food service, there typically is not a mechanism to factor in tips. It's assumed that you are already making a wage if you're working.
Correct. There. Right. Exactly. You're already getting paid something above minimum wage or at least at minimum wage. And really, what are you doing? You're like you said, you're not coming out to my table. Once I grab that food put it on the tray and walk to the table, I'm doing everything myself. But it's in the other places.
And I'm not saying that. I'm not just saying that. Call in a pizza order. Call Pizza Hut. I don't care. Call mom and pop shop. Whatever. I'm gonna. Can I get a large pepperoni pizza? Yeah, sure. 20 minutes. You walk in. Do you tip? When they just pass it across to you?
No, I don't.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, to me, it's the same thing. I'm
delivered. I tip the
just,
driver. But
right, because they're doing something over and above.
Yeah.
I'm paying for the product at that point.
Yes.
I'm not paying for any service above and beyond them sliding the box of pizza across the counter to me.
I will tip in that circumstance.
I normally do too, because the credit card gives you the spot. But it's awkward. I feel like an asshole. Honestly, if I feel like a cheap ass. I'm like, okay, scratch the line out or put 0 there. But that's my point. What?
But I have to draw the line
what
somewhere.
Am I
I'll only do it
exactly.
I only do that at places I go to a lot. I do that at Tommy's or Clementina's right outside of town.
Clementina's is good. I keep forgetting. We always forget to go there.
I love Clementina's.
You don't speak for yourself. We go often.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, Mom and I
Dude,
get pizza or pasta to go.
ziti is.
Well, how come you don't invite me?
We have to go. We take it home.
Yeah,
okay.
that's
to avoid the tip.
See, I have to tip them though, because those people in there are awesome, man. I love those people.
No, they're very nice in there. I mean, that's not the point, though. The point is, you're right. Traditionally, a pizzeria, unless and even if you're sitting down, they're bringing the food out to you after you've ordered at the counter, right? And so, there's no service. If I want a refill, I go up to the counter and get a refill. So it's not a traditionally tip thing, as you point out, unless it's delivered to you. But again, it's there on the credit card payment thing. And I feel like, see, in my head, and I don't know if this is true, but in my head, the cook, the guy who makes the pizza in the back, he's getting that tip. I don't know though, but in my head, that's what's going on. And so then I feel it. And then sometimes when he comes out from the back, you know, and normally he's not the guy who works the front, but when he comes out from the back, and then I feel like I really need to tip him. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because that reminds me of the time we went to lunch, and not here, not locally, but we went out of town and there was a little like buffet, Chinese buffet, but they had their own little like, you know, the Chinese buffet, and then they had the little sushi bar or whatever, and the lady pretty much was like, tip? Tip, like the woman specifically behind the sushi bar, she hit you up like, I mean, she was taking no for no. She was not taking no for an answer.
Seriously,
she literally came out and asked you for it. Like,
all I said to her was, "How are you today?" And she goes, "Good, tip." And she's pointing to the tip jar, which is right there. And I'm like, I don't have any cash on me. I tip on the credit card and assume that it's being shared. But yeah, that was I forgot about that.
So that's just because you said,
and she did it the next week too.
Yeah, like that's her little station, the sushi station. She wants that tip right there.
I think she's been fired since then. I complained.
So actually, let me flip the script real quick, right? I'm sitting here saying like I don't believe in tipping for people. So I also go to Chipotle quite often.
Okay.
And this actually does frustrate me. So you stand there and they wait on, like they make your order to order, right?
Correct.
A little bit more rice, please. Kind of a little bit more of the corn stuff. And they, you know, whatever. They're rushed. They're always like, whatever.
Yeah.
When you go to pay with a credit card there's not an option for a tip.
Good.
But I want to tip those people. They are literally
listening to you and doing what you're
and
asking.
making that, you know, like it's not like a burger that's just slapped together and here you go. It's already like it's put in the wrapper.
But they're probably getting $15 an hour.
Whatever, but if I choose, there's not even an option for me to tip the way they do it.
Right.
There's a cash bin there always.
I was going to say,
I don't carry cash normally.
Yeah.
So like if I'm paying with a credit card, there's not even an option at all to say, hey, can I put a $5 tip on here? Because you know they're probably college kids too. Like
when they're not looking, like grab cash out of the cash bin, and then when they look back, go, oh, here's some cash for you, and you know, just make it look
anyway,
like you did it.
It's so goofy. The whole thing's all goofy.
No, it is goofy, and I don't understand. I mean, it's really a clever boondoggle that these businesses have now because it's like if you're in a traditionally non-tipped business and you're getting tipped, I'm the employee and I'm getting tipped. Yeah. Well, when I go and I say, hey, can I get a 25-cent raise? And my boss is like, I don't really have that money. But the boss is like, yeah, but you're getting tips. Yeah. You're getting $2, $3. You're getting like 3%, 5%.
They can use it as an excuse not to give you a livable wage.
Yeah. So it's
that's BS too. I mean,
sure, but they'll use it.
If the tip is being used the way we traditionally are raised to believe it's used, it is to recognize service above and beyond, right?
Yep.
So if you have an employee who's just doing the bare minimum, they're not a good face for your organization either. So you would want to incentivize the people to stay who are making the extra tips and stuff because they're a good face for your business.
Yeah.
So give them the extra.
Well, no, but what I'm saying
as an underlying payment, I'm not saying about the tip. I'm saying the owner should not take any consideration that those people make tips. That's my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Well,
they shouldn't.
He shouldn't, but they do. They will. Yeah. No, but my point is that like even whether you're good or bad, that guilt factor,
right?
Like South Park did a really good thing about the guilt factor at the grocery store with the poor kids and everything like that, and but they make it like, would you like to donate $1 to, starving children of Africa? And the guy's like, no, not really. And it's like, okay, well, just reach there and pull the receipt out of the starving girl's mouth. And there's like a cut out of the, but it's true. Like you feel guilty for not doing it. And so I'm thinking people are going to pick the minimum tip option that they give you, right? Whether or not it's a tippable job. Yeah. And so even the worst employee there is getting tips because it's not about rewarding good service anymore. It's just understood or expected, I guess, that people are going to get tips.
Here's the other argument, like the example I was giving you. There's no delineation as to who I'm tipping when I'm just doing it right at checkout. It's
that's
just
a great
going
point.
to a big kitty. It's not.
There's
like
a lot of places that
Yeah.
even if it's cash tips, they have to be shared between everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, they have to split them.
Even if you had someone who was exceptional, the same, like you said, the person who's the worst is still getting the same number of tips as the person who did an exceptional
Exactly.
So.
Well, we didn't solve anything there. So
no, we didn't. Well, what's next is this.
Events first.
Oh, I always do that.
what's going on, so take notes. There's a test at the end. Here's AG Today's lead anchor, Veronica Brestensky, with news, traffic, weather, sidewalk conditions, and what's happening this weekend.
I must have all possible information.
As I recall it, you bitches up for food?
A little early.
I love the.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
So, the news.
Yeah, the news.
Our favorite university. State officials revoke authorization for Alderson Broaddus.
What is it?
No, none of us can pronounce this.
Nobody
correctly.
knows.
Alderson Broaddus.
Alderson Broaddus.
You want to forgive me on the name.
Order the start of a wind down.
Broaddus.
Yeah, so what happened? What's the story?
Financially troubled Alderson Broaddus University had its authorization pulled today during an emergency meeting of the Higher Education Policy Commission, and state higher education officials prepared an order leading to its wind down.
Oh,
Commissioners voted unanimously to revoke Alderson Broaddus's authorization to confer degrees in the state effective this December 31st. The revocation means the institute is not permitted to enroll new students beginning this fall semester. However, seniors scheduled to graduate at the end of the fall term may return to complete their degrees on schedule. Shit! It goes on and on. Jeez.
Yeah, I read the whole article, and it's like serious financial issues.
Yeah.
Chattanooga.
But does that mean though that they can't confer degrees if you don't have money? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the
Is it a state
part of what
school
they're
or a private
revoking
school?
It's a private school.
Oh, okay.
And part of what they're revoking is their ability to confer degrees.
Higher education officials took action after receiving and confirming information that led them to conclude that the university's financial condition renders the institution unable to create a stable, effective, and safe learning environment for all its students.
Kind of got out of hand.
Kind of did.
Apparently, they've asked alumni to basically help them meet payroll.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
All sorts of crazy
donations.
stuff.
That sucks.
No. Oh, shh.
Oh shit.
So I will remind our listeners, I mean, this is kind of funny because it has a connection with Cam, but the way we even knew about this is because you were asking him, what the...
I was asking what the industry in Philippi was and what they had, and he said they have a college. And I said, what is it, Philippi University? And he said, no. And then he goes...
You're going to forgive me on the name of Alderson Broaddus.
And then we laughed, and he said...
I have a hard time with names sometimes.
So that's just a reminder. And Cam has no affiliation with these folks other than to tell. Right. This isn't his alma mater.
Well, he's the dean of students.
I don't want anyone to think that this has anything besides just an underlying inside joke at all. But
by the way, like 100 people sent me the link to that in the last week.
Really?
Oh my God. Yeah. They're like, have you seen this? I was like, yes.
Oh. Well, a little bit of other, this is like legit sad news. I don't exactly... I mean, Alderson Broaddus has no particular meaning to us if we really get down to it. So I mean, it's sad for the students, but not like a personal thing. On a sad note, author Meg Groening, who, if you follow the emerging Civil War site and blog and things like that, you'll be familiar with Meg. She started back in the early 2000s as a guest blog writer for the emerging Civil War, and you'll probably know her most for her book regarding Elmer Ellsworth. It was called First Fallen, The Life of Colonel Elmer Ellsworth, the North's first Civil War hero. Meg passed away after a pretty devastating cancer diagnosis in March of 2021 that she fought through, and then it came back pretty abruptly this summer, and she passed a couple weeks ago at towards the end of July. So
that sucks.
Yeah.
That's a couple. Oh, towards the end of July. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So,
we're sorry to hear that for sure, and our condolences to her family.
I'm sure a lot of our followers. I mean, this is a very small community in terms of the Civil War field and things like that. So, Jim literally just mentioned that he's going to be talking at the Emerging Civil War Symposium this weekend. A lot of our listeners and followers, I'm sure, are familiar with Meg. So we do send our condolences to her husband and family members.
Speaking of symposiums, I had a meeting yesterday with Rob and Pete and Cody over at the Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center, a proud sponsor of Addressing Gettysburg, of course, and pitched them an idea. And they had an idea to pitch me, and we both liked each other's ideas. So if you're coming out to the Pete Carmichael show on September 16th, you might want to go and see what they got going on over at the Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center on, that whole weekend. But Friday, the 15th, I will be moderating a panel on the 151st Pennsylvania.
Oh, neat.
Cody, Pete, and I'm sorry, I forget the guest's name. I don't have it written down, but they'll be talking about it, and they asked me to come in and
weekend. The Legacy Weekend, is that what they're?
Yes, and they're doing. I think they're focusing solely on the 151st PA. Jim Pangburn will be giving a tour the next day, but don't forget we have our Get Out of the Car tour the next day. But they got stuff going on all day, so you come to the Get Out of the Car tour, you go to their stuff in the afternoon, and you're going to enjoy it. Come join us on Friday the 15th, and for the panel, and everybody has a grand old time.
I'm trying to get the information very quickly as to who you will be working with. So
good idea.
So it actually does. It just says 5:30. There's an evening reception, followed by an overview program. I'm assuming that might be what you're doing then.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
I believe so.
So Jim Pangburn, Rick Schrader, Christian Keller. That might be.
No, it's not Christian Keller.
No? Okay.
No,
Pete
but I
Mealy,
love
Cody
Christian
Aish, as they follow in the footsteps and experiences of the 151st.
That would be that would be it there. Yeah. And so that's what we're going to do. I hope to see you there.
There's a swamp dragon.
There it is, Cammie. All right, what else you got, Ronnie? What else you got?
That's it for the news.
Oh.
This weekend, where the action is.
What's there to do and see when
Love
you're in
hitting
town
that
this
button.
weekend? Here's Valerie, Veronica, to fill you in.
It's all covered.
He enjoys that.
General Trimble to General Lee.
That's correct. General Trimble is General Lee. Sorry, though, no points awarded. Okay. Nobody's going to the attic. Okay. Cameron, here we go.
Yeah, I know. They still talk about your grades there with reverence and awe.
That's easy. That's General Longstreet to the British Observer.
Oh, my God.
You're supposed to know this in your sleep. Come on.
Always a raucous time when Cameron is involved.
Yeah.
All right, what's going on this weekend, Ronnie?
All right, so buckle up, folks. I'm going to be jumping all over the timeline, but I'm going to start with some stuff this weekend specifically.
Okay.
So Debbie was so kind. She printed out this. Did you do this, or is this like something the Park Service? Holy heck!
I copied it off the Park Service.
Very cool. So there's actually like a Excel sheet here covering all of the different events you can find throughout the Park Service, and also even into town at the Dobbin House for the 26th Annual Music Muster, which starts tomorrow, August 4th, and runs all day Saturday as well. So there's so much stuff here. Just a real quick overview. There are 4 different event areas. The Museum and Visitor Center front lawn is going to be hosting folks pretty much all day, starting at noon tomorrow until about 3:45. And then all day Saturday from 10 until about 5 p.m. There is the Museum Visitor Center and Group Lobby that's going to be hosting the 46th, from 1 o'clock tomorrow on Saturday. I keep saying tomorrow because I keep forgetting we don't do these on Friday.
We don't do, we're still,
I apologize. So tomorrow there are events, and then Saturday is the big lineup where they're going to have the Victorian Dance Ensemble and Civil War Comrades from 1 to 1:45 inside the group lobby, all day at the Dobbin House. From 10 o'clock until 5 o'clock, they're going to have different performers. And then each evening, there's a special program at the West Confederate Avenue Park Amphitheater. So on Friday night at 7:30 until 9, there's a special campfire program. I love those campfires.
Yeah, I do too.
Music of the Civil War. So 7:30 to 9 on Friday. And then on Saturday night at 6 o'clock at the amphitheater, the Fort Delaware Cornet Band is going to play for 45 minutes.
Oh.
And then at 7 o'clock, the 46th Pennsylvania is going to play. If I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the 46th Pennsylvania are the reenactors or the living historians who actually provided the music for the dedication for the Thaddeus Stevens Monument. So I'm pretty sure that's
okay.
when we did the festival a couple years ago for that. So
Festival.
Festival. Okay, so also Debbie was kind enough to point out that if you were planning on attending the Saturday Matt Atkinson Farnsworth Charge Battle Walk, that has been replaced because Matt is in charge of the annual music muster, and obviously that conflicts with his duties there this weekend. So filling in for Matt is going to be Dan Welch, seasonal ranger and friend of the show. He's going to be talking about In Battle and Memory. You are to meet at Devil's Den parking lot from 10 o'clock until noon, and it's going to be a talk about Devil's Den, so that's kind of cool. And then on Sunday, also from 10 to noon, if you meet at the National Cemetery parking lot, Carlton Smith is going to be talking about Medal of Honor winner Cushing's Battery at the Angle. So those are the 2 battle walks planned for this weekend. And then finally, just a reminder that in terms of the Friends events or Foundation events, Saturday evening happens to be this month's evening with the painting at 5 o'clock. So tickets are available on the Foundation website. So Debbie, thank you so much.
Gotta go
literally, I hope you guys can see this. It's like a panel,
angle it like top down.
The park really, I seriously just copy pasted it off the park. They're the ones.
It's a lot of work that she did. So thank you for putting that together.
Your stock is rising, number 2.
So that is this weekend. Let me see if I can try to put this in some kind of other time. Oh, also this weekend on Saturday.
Chattanooga.
Our buddy Tim Smith is going to be hosting a walking tour of the Evergreen Cemetery. Now, that is in conjunction with the Adams County Historical Society, so it's a $20 fee for members, $30 for the general public. But the Evergreen Cemetery walk is going to be from 6 to 8 o'clock on Saturday, so that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
I always like to see Tim out there. He knows his stuff just like
does.
Our friend Deb Navani.
Deb Navani,
yes.
too.
They both
That's the
give
other
excellent
name I was
tours.
thinking. Oh, yeah.
So that's this weekend. What else do we have? So this is non-historic, but if you like corn, and this is corn season, I know.
Oh, corn. Corn. C-O-R-N-E.
Get your minds out of the gutter.
Corn. Jeez. You got to enunciate, Ronnie.
Corn. I just realized, I thought I said corn. So
I thought you said something else.
Saturday, if you're interested in corn, there is an old-fashioned corn cookout. So that's at Union Mills in Maryland. What was that? That was a snort.
That was me
That
snorting.
was a snort.
You got me snorting on that one.
5-year-old sitting across from us, so you know.
Corn cookout. So here's the neat thing about that. Can you for one sec? Because this is actually pretty cool. So if you've ever been down to the Union Mills homestead, you're familiar with a historic home that's actually there as well as the mill.
As the mill, yeah.
I've never been around when it's been open the house.
Me neither.
It's going to be open. So it didn't say how much, but for a quote unquote small fee from noon until 4 with the last tour starting at 3 o'clock, the historic house and the mill are going to be open during the corn roast. So look, there's free parking and free event things. What costs money is if you want to eat, it's a fried chicken dinner with as much corn as you can eat. So that's $17 an adult. Kids 11 and under are $8, and I think it said like 3 and under is free or something, whatever. But what I find really super fascinating about this is the historic house and the mill are going to be open for tours. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah. Have you ever been there at all?
I have actually, yes. Randy Dreas put together a Pipe Creek circular kind of tour, and Dean Schultz a couple of summers ago. It was so cool. It was one of the first interactions I'd ever had with Dean Schultz, and he was kind of pointing things out to us about the house and everything, and people kind of had free roam of the place, and Mom and I kind of ended up with Dean, and he really was just like, look at this and this is it, and I remember this story, and Mom and I were like, whoa, this is really cool, but never inside. I didn't even know they offered tours of the
He came
house,
on that walk with us with Jen Murray and Mike Walker. And I remember at the end, someone asked him, Dean, what was it like growing up here around the battlefield? And the stories he told about, just drinking on the back. Yeah. It's amazing how previous generations, the young people of the previous generations, and maybe they still do, but they're just better at sneaking out there. But there was actually a time when there was no closing time to the park. Right. It was open 24 hours a day. In fact, a few days after that little walk that we did, I went into Bantam Roasters, and there was Steve Sims sitting with Dave Melge. So I went over and I said hi to them. And I said, Steve, because, my big crusade is let us stay out till 10 p.m. at least from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Mm-hmm. I go, Steve, I found out a little piece of information that I didn't know is that, for a while, until the 70s, there was no closing time on the battlefield. And people were out there all the time, and it wasn't. And he just looked at me and shook his head, and he goes, well, there is now. And I was like, all right, I'm going to lose this, I know. And I said, I'm just going to keep bugging you until you give in.
Isn't that coming from above? That's a pretty standard park thing now.
I know I'm not going to win this battle. It's just I like to tease the guy, you know.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, just think of that. You could go out
there. It
there.
doesn't get old for him either.
I'm sure he loves it. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, those are like this weekend specific events. Just a reminder generically that the 100 Nights of Taps is still going on, and it will continue through September 5th. So 7 o'clock, you can always see the presentation followed by the sounding of taps at the Soldiers National Cemetery. Coming up, some things to kind of mark your calendar for. So let's see. Well, if you're coming to the Farnsworth House event on September 16th with Pete Carmichael, I'm assuming that's in the evening.
That's 6 o'clock.
6 p.m. So you have plenty of time to do this in the morning.
No, you don't, because you're coming to the Get Out of the Car tour that day, too.
Oh, is that the same day?
Oh, yes.
September 16th? All right, then never mind.
Yes.
That's a very full day.
Yes, that is a very full day.
Never mind. I'm not
and then you're going to do the Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center events in the afternoon. You're going to grab something to eat around 5 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock. You're going to get an early dinner because we're not doing food. We're just doing a show.
Yeah.
So 6 o'clock, doors open, 7 o'clock, show starts.
We can encourage our fans to
BYOB.
Go to the Farnsworth House proper and get their food.
Yeah,
because
of course.
they will be open.
Makes the most sense, right?
Yeah,
Go out the back to the...
It does.
There will be soft drinks available for sale. No alcohol available for sale because they can't do it. We did that last year, but we found out we can't do that. However, and I'm going to confirm this, but I'm under the impression that you can BYOB there to the lawn,
right?
But not into the bar, of course.
So another real quick reminder upcoming. We just had, speaking of Dr. Murray, we just had her on. She was so kind to come on as the author for the Addressing Gettysburg Book Club. We just finished up her book about the making of the battlefield. So she spoke to our group last night, and that means that when we conclude one book, we start another one. So if you guys are interested in the Addressing Gettysburg Book Club, please reach out to the moderator, Steve Byers, and you can reach him at addressinggettysburgbookclub@gmail.com.
Or you can find it on Instagram and message him through that too, if that's easier for you.
Exactly. He'll put you on the email list, and don't be afraid if you don't have enough time to read the assignment or whatever. Please come join us. It's always a lively discussion. The next book is Kent Masterson Brown's Retreat from Gettysburg. So that's going to be starting next week. So that's just a generic reminder to come on and join us on Wednesday evenings at 8:30 via Zoom. So no excuses wherever you're at. We actually have one guy from Hawaii that literally religiously joins us. So I mean, you have no excuses wherever you're at. Come join us.
Exactly.
Have some fun. And then also upcoming August 15th.
Oh, wait, before you move on from book club, in addition to the book club, we are going to start a film club, the Addressing Gettysburg Film Club. Casey Turbin, our friend from Winchester, Virginia, is going to be the man spearheading that effort. Details forthcoming as far as email address goes, and Instagram page and all that other stuff. But that's going to, and once a month, it's a military movie, a war movie, or maybe just a period piece, some historical movie. And we're going to watch it and then discuss it. And I'm sure that's going to be interesting because, people are film buffs themselves. So they're interested in the history of film, the process of making films and everything. So we'll probably get people who will naturally gravitate towards finding out the story of those things, the production notes, things like that. And then also the people, how accurate is this to the, history or whatever it is. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And I got to say, it was Steve Byers and Casey who were having a conversation during the anniversary weekend, and they came up with that idea, and I'm like, how the hell did I not think of that in 5 freaking years? Like, how did I not? I love war movies. Like, why didn't I come up with that? But probably because I don't have the time to actually run it. So Casey will be doing that. Great idea. And this is the thing I want to stress with everybody that we love about doing the whole community thing that we're creating here is the ideas don't have to come from us. They can come from you, and it will do the best in our power, which is not very powerful, to facilitate and help you do that. But then you're on your own. You just run and take it and do your own thing. I mean, it's still an Addressing Gettysburg thing, so you're not totally on your own. You got to represent us well. And Steve does a great job, and Casey I know is going to do a great job because he's a cool guy and he's very into a lot of what we do. If you come to the live shows, he's the guy that does the live sound there. So go ahead, already.
I'm looking forward to seeing how they put that together. Is the idea to watch the movie together?
No, you watch it on your own, and then you get together once a month. So you got a month to watch it. Maybe he's tweaked it. I don't know. Like that was the original idea. He sent me an email and a text message earlier, but I was getting ready for the show, so I haven't followed up on that. So we'll find out. We'll get more details once we're ready to launch it. Yep.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the reminder for the August 19th. If we're planning ahead, August 19th is the next Get Out of the Car tour. I know we were talking about September 16th.
Yes.
There's one in between now.
Thank you. Good
so that's
point.
the Pitzers Woods, and we did discuss earlier in the show that if you do have mobility issues, this one might be one that you want to consider because in terms of all of the events that have been put on or are going to be put on this summer, this is probably going to require the least amount of walking.
Yes.
So something to consider. And then last but not least, I find this interesting. So it's approximately every month, the GAR Hall on Middle Street sponsors a historic Gettysburg, Adams County related talk. Mm-hmm. And this month's talk is going to be by licensed town guide Ted Hurt.
We know Ted.
Ted is a friend of the show.
He's been on the show.
He's on the board of the Civil War Roundtable here. I mean, he's involved in all kinds of stuff. He's a reenactor, living historian with the artillery, for Rhode Island Artillery with Steve Evangelista. Anyway, he is going to be speaking on August 15th at 7:30 p.m. at the GAR Hall. His presentation is 3 Young Men in Gettysburg in the year 1863. Dan Skelly, Albertus McCreary, and Gates Fonstock.
Nice.
So that's gonna be a neat presentation, I think. So those guys all left pretty good accounts. There's all kinds of different stories from young boys, right, that were growing up when the war comes to their town. So I'm really looking forward to that one. That's again August 15th at 7:30 p.m.
Awesome.
Cool.
That's great. And that's all you got there?
That's all I got.
Colby, you got anything going on exciting over at American Fog of War that you want people to know about?
Yeah, man. The next episode coming out, I'm actually really excited about. It's a hip pocket history on Audie Murphy's career.
Audie Murphy.
So the most decorated. Yeah, it's arguable. There's another guy that's on the list now, Bob Howard. Also, he's from Vietnam, but Audie Murphy's still recognized, as the most decorated American soldier in history.
Well, and if Bob takes that title away, at least Audie would be most decorated in World War II, right?
He would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or up to Vietnam. I mean, there's a million ways that we can do it and still leave Audie his dignity, right? All right, good. Very good. And then, Debbie, anything you want to let us know about or anything like that?
Not much. I'll be in my volunteer uniform all weekend long. So if you spot me, say hi, please.
Somebody said that they saw Veronica at a karaoke night one time, and they recorded a little bit of it, and here it is.
Can't read that, no, he can't read my poker face. She's got me like nobody. As I recall it,
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jim Hessler. Go check out all of his stuff, Addressing Gettysburg. Battle of Gettysburg Podcast.com and other places, Facebook, everywhere else. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Colby. We'll talk to you next time.
Today is produced by Matt Callery and Veronica Brestensky, Esquire, and broadcasts from the Gettysburg Museum of History Studios. Engineered by Colby Sumner and sometimes someone else. Guest accommodations are provided by the guests themselves. Who are we? Vanderbilts? But if you want us to take better care of them, become a patron at patreon.com/Addressing Gettysburg. I'm Huevos Grande, the voice of Addressing Gettysburg. Thanks for listening.
It's too late.
I am a very pretty man.
Am I 26? Hello.
Did you say Abe Lincoln?
I probably would have drowned me in a bathtub. Oh man, I forgot about Delilah. Woo!
Unmute me!
No.
Oh wow. Ooh. Ooh.
I love this podcast.
This concludes our broadcast day.
As I recall, it emptied my kazoo.
Chattanooga. Oh, there's a swamp dragon.